And remember one thing, okay? I love you. And I'll see you when I get home.
It wasn't quite his last goodbye. Lance saw Kelsey while he was home on leave. And the bruises.
I can't imagine the fear and how miserable it must have been to live in that house. For that little child to have to go through that.
Bruises, investigators say, eventually killed her, days before Lance was scheduled to come home from Iraq.
I just couldn't believe it when my mom told me that Kelsey was gone. I just couldn't believe it.
Lance says it has taken a year to learn not to blame himself.
If I could go back and change it, even knowing that she had to leave one year ago today, I'd be with her every minute I could. I would never went to Iraq. And I love this country, but I love my baby.
And a year to learn how to deal with the anger.
I've got as mad as a father could possibly get. But I have to just remember that God does not want me to seek revenge.
Lance says only 3 people know what happened last October 11th. 1 is dead.
That's my worst nightmare. Is to think that they could get off. It takes an evil person to do what they did. And as much as I would want one of them to come out and say, I hit her this time, I broke her legs, I did this to her, I'm the one that punched her in the stomach and beat her, and I'm the one that murdered her. They're both guilty.
A soldier has to settle for a cemetery.
No matter how close I get to her grave, I still can't feel her the way I want to feel her. I can't pick her up and hold her the way I want to. I'd rather her be in heaven than be beaten and abused.
Let me start with why you decided to go ahead and sit down and talk to us today.
I became very frustrated with people taking advantage of my silence. They know I can't speak, and people have gotten on the news, and they have stated their opinions, what they think will happen, and most of it is just completely far from the truth or the facts. And so I wanted to come forward because I'm tired of being quiet.
Have you been surprised at the response to Kelsey's death?
Yes, I have. She was very special to me, and it's like the entire state of Oklahoma has just welcomed her into their homes, and you have no idea how that makes me feel.
Does it help or does it hurt?
A little bit of both. It does hurt because of the way she is being exploited and the way her name the way it's being used. And it's in a good way sometimes, but then it hurts a lot too.
In what way? I mean, it hurts to see it, or it hurts because you think she's being taken advantage of?
I feel that a lot of what Kelsey is being taken advantage of, because a lot of people, politicians, lawmakers, media, is using Kelsey for their own personal gain, and I don't feel that that's right. I mean, she was a human being. She was my baby. She was a little girl, not for someone to use for their own personal gain.
We're talking about the billboards and
the bills and the laws and just everything. And I think a lot of times I feel it's gotten out of hand, because I look forward to the day that my baby can rest in peace.
And this doesn't allow her to do that?
No. If she was here and she could see the horrible things that people have said about her mommy, her grandma, and everybody that loved her, it would break her heart. And I think about that, because it would kill her for her to hear all these horrible things. She just wanted everybody to get along. because Kelsey loved everybody.
She seemed like a happy child in the pictures. I see.
Yes, she was very happy. And I miss her so much every day. And no one understands how hard it is for people to say the horrible things that they've said, because she was my best friend.
Can you talk about the lies?
About what?
The lies. You said people are telling mistruths.
Just a lot of things. I can't really go into detail because of a gag order that has been issued by the judge, so I can't.
Can you tell me about Michael Porter as the person you met?
I don't want to talk about Michael Porter.
Will you talk about Lance Briggs?
Lance Briggs and I divorced. Him and his family know why we divorced, and it's public record, and anybody who wants to know is more than welcome to go check it out for themselves.
But they haven't done that.
No.
Are there lies about that too?
Of course.
Why do you think people feel the need to do that?
I don't know. I have come to realize that people are very mean, and people seem to kick you the hardest when you're at your lowest, and it hurts.
Were you completely unprepared for any of this? I mean, you had lost a child in a very traumatic situation, and then all of this started.
Right. It's been awful, and I have yet to be treated as a mother who lost her best friend. And I did not realize how cruel and how mean people could be in such a situation.
Can you go into specifics on that? Can you give me some examples of what you're talking about, them being mean?
Just the nasty, mean things that people say, whether it be on websites or whether it be on the news, or just people say horrible, mean things.
Yeah, I went on the internet for about 5 minutes yesterday, and when I did that, that was what came up. Right. Some of them about you, some of them about the case, some of them about Kelsey. Is that just mind-boggling to you?
Yes, it is. And it amazes me that, one thing I have said, that it amazes me that every day since this has happened, people talk about me, my family, my daughter. I mean, it's almost like their world revolves around it. And I don't understand it.
Yeah, is it difficult to, I mean, you work, you have to make a living.
Yes.
Do people stare? Do people look? Do people, or do you just think they are?
Sometimes I think they are, but they ask me questions. It's not like they, look at me as this horrible person like they do in Meeker and the Shawnee area and everywhere. They ask me questions, and they look at me as a person, and they treat me like a human being. And it's completely different than how I grew up.
So what happens in Shawnee or Meeker, in those places?
It's just people are a lot more judgmental, and people are more likely to jump on the bandwagon than to stand up for what they really believe or what they really think.
So do they tell you one thing and then act another way?
Yeah.
Say things behind your back?
Yes.
Say things to your family?
Yes.
Write things about your family?
Right and wrong. Mainly wrong.
Do they get on the internet, hide their identity, and do it?
Yes. I have read, I've never went on that website, but I have read it on paper that they always sign anonymous. They don't, very seldom do they put their name to it. They always sign anonymous. And I want to say, if you feel that strongly about something and you want to say something, put your name to it.